The first work week of the year is always the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, one of the largest trade shows in the country. It's all about technology, so our own Chad Colby had to go to see what was in store.
We've got a lot to talk about this week in the tech segment as I attended the CES show in Las Vegas. Yes, there were certainly a few less vendors and less people, but there was no shortage of great technology to talk about. You may recognize this logo, especially if you run Case IH equipment. This is the FPT Power Group. And look at this. They've got a hybrid marine propulsion system that's not conventional at all. Yes, it's got a diesel engine, but it uses a generator to store power in the batteries to run an hydrojet to move the boat. They also have, of course, batteries and electric drive systems as well. Speaking of propulsion, look at this prototype from a startup company. Look at this engine. This is still a gasoline-powered engine, has 15 horsepower. I think it was around 23 foot-pounds of torque. You can have more than one of these. It's the size of a big football. Pretty interesting when you look at it up close. Now, when we talk about the EV industry, electric vehicles, then you start going down that path of how do we charge them. Then we talk about solar and battery storage. This company was showcasing how you could also take power from the vehicle and put it back in your house. Now, Ford's new F-150 will do that as well. And speaking of this truck, which will debut at the dealerships here very soon this year, Ford announced they've doubled production of that vehicle to meet demand this year. Speaking of EV vehicles, at the CES show, I was blown away by the new companies, if you would, getting into this space like Sony. They had a couple vehicles here, but everywhere you look, there was another company I had never heard of with another vehicle. Now, the one thing I will tell you, they've certainly paid attention to the North American market because a lot of these vehicles are designed here, of course, because they're listening. And I think you're going to find you're going to have a lot more options for electric vehicles than you would have in the past with a conventional vehicle. Now, if you remember in 2019 at Agritechnica, a lot of companies had prototypes of ag machinery with battery power. Bobcat unveiled their new skid loader. Pretty impressive machine. Basically, no maintenance, 4-hour runtime. You'll see those at Sunbelt stores this year, and they also have an electric-powered excavator as well. There's just always so much to see. Look at this fully autonomous snowblower, and I was kind of expecting LG to have a big 95-inch or 105-inch TV, but their booth was all virtual, and if it wasn't enough, look at this. The Indy Autonomous Challenge, that's right, they had a competition with cars competing at the racetrack here in Las Vegas fully autonomously. As you can see, there was a lot to see at CES. For This Week in Agribusiness, I'm Chad Colby.